Gotta get startup food, right?
Alright guys, so welcome back to the channel. On tonight's upload, we got our DAP Arctic freaking cooler. When you spend money at DAP, they always hook you guys up where you can buy these in their merch store. That being said, you guys have been dying to see us jump into putting some parts on old White Lightning right here in the Corvette. You see how she is, just an old tabletop. So, we got our Quadzilla we're going to be installing on White Lightning tonight, so hold tight, we're going to jump right into it. First things first, guys, I just stuffed my mouth full of pizza. But I was going to install a pyro in this video, but I forgot to bring a drill that's really worth the crap home, so we'll probably do that in the next video. But for now, I got the pyro right there, going to set it to the side. We'll install that later on. But we've got the intake air temperature. I know this is the map sensor for the head adapter kit, which plugs in somewhere on this here harness right here. That we're going to plug into the back of the head first. And we've got our data link connector adapter that plugs into the Cummins harness and plugs into our Quadzilla. So I'm going to get back here at the back of the head, install our map sensor adapter, and then our data link connector before we go to installing the main wiring harness for our Quadzilla. Alright guys, so first things first, we're going to reach back here to the back of the head. It's kind of hard to see on camera, it is a little bit dark out today, but it's the only little round plug on the back of the head back here that you're going to reach and unplug, and you're going to plug this little adapter harness in. It's a Y harness. So you plug one piece of it into the factory harness and this one back into the head. So up next, guys, we are going to get our harness laid out in the truck. Got our data link connector, which runs up right on the front of the engine harness. On the front of the engine, the adapter's plugged in. We've got our map sensor adapter plugged in right there, ready to go. So next we're going to run our wiring harness. It's basically just laid over the engine so we can get started with it. This one really long lead right here is for the transmission temp sensor, being we don't have an automatic. Like I said, we may hook this up for an oil temp sensor. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with that yet, so we're gonna leave that one alone. So for the time being, we're gonna go ahead and get our sensors plugged in that we just worked with, which will be our map sensor and our data link connector. So next, guys, now we've got our map sensor plugged in and our data link connector plugged in. We're not messing with our training temp wire. We've got our wire here we used to wire tap the injection pump, which I can't tell you exactly what it does, but I know it definitely doubles the power basically that any Quadzilla product will put to the Cummins 24 valve turbo diesel engine. So being that I don't have the tools here with me at the house to tap that, we're gonna save tapping the injection pump and tapping the exhaust manifold for tomorrow, probably at Wilson's Tractor, where we actually have a little bit more tools to do this with, because I didn't bring all the tools home that I needed. After that, we've got our what would be a fuel pressure sensor, which we do have that and we will be installing. And we've got our ground cable and we've got our power wire. So we're gonna get those hooked up to the battery right here now. And then once those are hooked up, we're gonna run our next wire right here inside the cap, and this hooks into one of our fuses. It's a little tiny fuse tap right there, and it's a key on power, so whenever the key turns on, it turns the Quadzilla on. Alright guys, so up next I got the negative hooked up to the negative side of the battery cable like I was talking about, and I've got the positive hooked right here into the actual fuse box instead of hooking it on this battery terminal, because it's actually not in really good shape. I replace it and I want to mess with it. So positive, negative hooked up. I'm going to get our fuel pressure sensor hooked up into the injection pump, because I've got enough tools to do that. And we're going to run this one wire inside the cab, and that is it. So right here is the actual iQuad box, and I actually thought that you had to run it inside the cab, but actually it stays on the outside, which is great. So it has a lot less things you have to worry about shoving through the small ports on the dash of this truck to get this thing actually hooked up. So up next, guys, we've got our fuel pressure sensor right here, our needle valve, and our tapped Banja bolt that goes into the fuel feed line on the injection pump. And what this does, you're going to take your needle valve, you're going to screw it into the tapped Banja bolt. This is pipe thread and brass. You usually don't have to use any kind of sealer. You can if you'd like. Then you're going to screw our fuel pressure sensor into the end of that. And the reason this is here is the injection pump has very harsh backlash of pressure coming in and out of it, and you want to protect this sensor. So what we do is you close this thing all the way off, and then once the truck is started up and we've got our iQuad powered on, or you have someone sit inside the truck for you, and you under the hood, either you or your friend, Slowly open the needle valve very carefully until it starts to reach pressure and then stop. The closer to being shut, the better for the more accurate reading on this sensor. All right, guys, I'm back out here the next day at the shop, Wilson's Tractor, and I've got White Lightning here with the Quadzilla install. It's a little bit brighter out. Got some guys working in the background, so you hear a little bit of noise, but I've got the intake horn and grid heater pulled off the truck because we're going to do the wire tap for the injection pump. As you guys know from the other night, we've already got the map sensor plugged in. We've got our data link connector plugged in down there, and I've ran the power wire inside the cab already. So now we've just got to do the pyro install, fuel pressure sensor, and get this injection pump tapped. So in the kit, it comes with this little piece, looks like a little pill, I guess you could say. I don't know what you want to call it, but you unscrew it, and you can see where it's split right here down the middle. There's a little needle inside there. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna unscrew that completely, and we're gonna stick it around the wire right here on the injection pump that is closest to the head. And you can see I've already cut the loom off of it and opened it up. So that one right there, we're gonna put this wire tap on, and then we're gonna hook up our wire tap out of the Quadzilla lead. So right here, guys, you can see where I got it on there. You're just gonna twist that until it completely punctures that wire and tightens down into it. And that is it right there. Up next is we got a wire tap wire here for the injection pump, and you're gonna stick it down inside this right here as far as it'll go. Sorry. Just like that, and then we're gonna screw this down like I'm doing here. And there you go, our injection pump is tapped. So I've got our intake horn and grid heater all bolted back down the truck after we just tapped the injection pump like you've seen. And next we're gonna do the pyrometer install. And whenever you call Diesel Auto Power and order any of this stuff, it does not come with the pyro install kit, but you can ask them for it. It's very inexpensive, and it comes with everything you need to drill and tap your manifold. All right, guys, so on doing your pyro install, you always want to tap the back side of the manifold, the back 3 cylinders, which would be this slot on the manifold, because the back 3 are always getting the hottest. That's what you want to monitor. And we're going to tap the front side also at the same time, because we're going to be putting a back pressure sensor in later on. So we're going to go ahead and do all that now. The way I do it is you take your drill, we'll put a lot of grease on it with a grease gun, and keep applying grease as slow as we go, so that keeps the least amount of shavings from falling down the turbo. A little bit getting there is going to be okay, because it's just going to get flushed at the turbo. There's enough space in the turbo wheel to let these shavings just fly out the back of it. So we're going to get started on that right now. So you can see right here, guys, where I drilled and I kept applying grease, and it kept all of our shavings out of the manifold, at least 90% of them, so we have least possible. So we have the least possible chance of that stuff falling down inside the turbo. We've got 2 holes drilled now. Got grease applied to my tap that comes in the pyro drill kit. And we're gonna take and put our tap down here in our hole, and you're gonna hold it as straight as possible the whole time while turning it to thread this hole in your cast iron manifold. Usually it's not too bad in cast iron because this stuff's pretty soft. Really, really easy. This stuff's pretty soft, and you don't wanna run your tap quite a ways down just to make sure you've got good clean threads installed in there. So I've got our pyro port installed. Up next we're going to take our pyrometer. It's always important to put a good amount of anti-lock or anti-seize on these threads, so whenever you do go decide to change the manifold down the road one day, you can pull all these stuff fittings back out of it and put in your new exhaust manifold. So guys, I went ahead and plugged off that second hole in the front that we are going to be using later on for a drive pressure gauge once we install a turbo, other than the factory. Next thing on the list is a boost elbow. This basically limits the boost pressure flowing out of the turbo into the wastegate, which is in the back of the turbocharger, which the wastegate does, it dumps exhaust coming out of the engine straight to the exhaust instead of running it through the turbine on the back of the turbo, which in turn creates less boost pressure. So we want more boost pressure, so we're gonna limit this boost elbow with a special one from Diesel Auto Power that is set at a certain PSI. I'm not sure. I want to say probably like 32 PSI or somewhere in there. So by installing that, we'll have more boost pressure, and the Quadzilla can send more fuel through the engine. And there you have it, guys. Our boost elbow is installed, and right there on the front of it is the little Allen key where it is adjustable, and it did come with a new hose clamp. So all that's tightened down. We can get our intake put back on. I did go ahead and install my fuel pressure sensor over here on the side of the injection pump down there. You can see it. Camera will come into focus, and I'm gonna have to adjust that fuel shutoff valve like I talked about earlier. I am going to hook up the transmission temp sensor, but as an oil temperature sensor right here on this fitting. So we're gonna pull this plug out of the oil pressure housing, or I'm sorry, the oil filter housing right here, and put in the temp sensor right there. So guys, I've got our oil temp sensor all plumbed in there. I'm gonna go ahead and change this oil filter in the engine oil while I've got the truck down. I'm gonna order that out from O'Reilly's right now. Well, I've got our iQuad right here module that lets us wirelessly Wi-Fi connect to an Apple device, and our Adrenaline all mounted up with Velcro that comes in the package. Everything is zip tied. The wire looms are all put together nice and neat. Out of the way, we got our wires ran inside right here to power it on. Our pyro is all hooked up. Our oil temp gauge is hooked up, waiting on the oil to come in that I just ordered with new oil filter. And our data link connector is down here all hooked up now, so we're all good to go as far as under the hood. I'm going to power up my iPod or iPad, I think I'm going to use it, or my phone for now, and see if we can get some tunes loaded up. Well guys, that pretty much wraps up installing our Quadzilla Adrenaline with iQuad underneath the hood of the truck. I'm going to go find the iPod or iPad inside. My brother's got something that I can use other than the phone, so we can use it for filming. We're gonna hop in the truck and go drive down the road with some of the preloaded original tunes that are in the truck. Since we do have basically a bone stock truck with just a fast direct replacement pump, we're not gonna be tuning it up real crazy. We do have lots of other mods coming in the future on this truck. The reason I'm doing this piece step by step is so that you guys, and a lot of my younger crowd that watch the videos are in high school, then these 24 valve trucks are becoming more and more available. You know, so you guys can get an idea on how to build your truck on a budget build, you know, over the course of a couple of weeks. So, hope you guys like the video. We'll be inside in just a moment on this budget high school truck build. Look at this thing, guys. 69 Dodge, 4-speed. Well guys, so I drove the truck on the default tuning that comes with the Quadzilla iQuad from Diesel Auto Power, and everything runs great. I'm really happy with it. I'm gonna do a review on the next video about how to tune it with stock truck. Keep in mind guys, I do have the fast direct replacement pump. I don't know if that pump's gonna hold up to what we plan on doing, but it's on the truck. We may have to upgrade to like a fast 150 or somewhere in there. I'm not sure yet, but I'll be doing some reviewing on the tuning part of it in the next video. So hold tight guys. I'm glad you hung around for the install of the Quadzilla. I know it was a little long, but in the next video I'll go over the tuning and the operation of the Quadzilla. So hold tight. This is part 1 of our budget build high school truck. So that being said guys, make sure you smash that like button, drop a comment down below. Go to ahdracing.com, grab your merch. I do have a discount code in one of my older videos. You guys can go back and find it for 50% off the entire website. So guys, go find that. Go snatch up what's left of the merch, the flatbed shirts, stuff like that. We do have some merch, new merch coming out in regards to the farm life and stuff like that, and still some truck stuff, yes. So guys, hope you guys are enjoying the video. Comment down below if you have any questions on this. I'll be glad to get right back to your comment and help you guys out as much as possible. And go to dieselautopower.com. Use the name Bruce Wilson at checkout. I'd really appreciate it, guys. So we'll talk to you later. Peace out.